Hello, kamusta? My name is Rando and welcome back to yet another video review. And in today's video, we're gonna be taking a look at the Transformers Dark of the Moon Mechtech Deluxe class Autobot Armored Costume. That is a mouthful for such a Deluxe class figure. And for those of you who are not familiar with what the Deluxe class figures are, well, technically they're kind of like a smaller scaled figure of mostly Transformers figures. And then we have the Voyager class, which is twice the size as a Deluxe class, but mainly focusing on bigger robots. Then Leader class, again, twice or thrice the size of a Voyager class, mostly focusing on bigger robots. Then we got the Supreme class and much bigger classes, so on and so forth. But enough about that, let's talk about this particular figure right here. So as you can see right here, we have Topspin in his armored stock car mode. So again, this is another one of those stock car with a very cool looking mechanical component. But why did Roadbuster did not get any? I'm assuming that probably when Hasbro decided to do the concept for a Roadbuster Deluxe class figure, they probably thought that might be impossible to integrate in with the mechanical components, so yeah, he's left naked compared to his brothers. But you know, they're still the same scale, same size, and they still look pretty cool together. The only difference is that, well, Roadbuster looks more of a basic bitch than Topspin right here. But setting Roadbuster aside, let's focus on his brother Topspin right here. So yet again, Topspin right here is a member of the Autobot group called Wreckers, according to the Dark of the Moon franchise. And apparently, the Wreckers are indeed Autobot engineers that were there just for the purpose of helping create the rocket that the Autobots were trying to use as a decoy for quote-unquote escaping or leaving Earth. And then half of their screen time, they're in robot mode, and then on the major parts, they're just driving around the city, shooting Shockwave with reckless intent, and then freeing Optimus Prime from a construction crane cable. That is merely one of the most pathetic aspects of the movie.
Wreckers!
So enough about the movie itself, let's talk about the vehicle that is right in front of us. So viewing this guy from this angle right here, it actually is pretty screen accurate from what I know. Only thing is that this paint app doesn't show or appear in the movie. This is the armored Topspin variant, meaning that he's armored. What an explanation. So basically what you have here is Jimmy Johnson's number 48 Chevy Impala car. Not sure if I'm correct about the car model. It's been a long time ever since I've seen some NASCAR stuff, but yeah, this is Jimmy Johnson's number 48 stock car with the trademark Lois sponsor for his car. Now we also got a vaguely printed on NASCAR Sprint logo right there. It's not fading out as much as the paint apps on some of the parts of this vehicle. I mean, look at that. It's already chipping off, but that might be due to age. It's not completely a deal breaker. It doesn't change the overall aesthetic of the figure. Again, the vehicle mode is very accurate to the show with so many mechanical components, which is pretty impressive for Topspin's vehicle form. And as for articulation, the only thing that actually moves around the vehicle are these guns right here. So this only moves up and move down. It can actually rotate, but yet again, due to most compromises done for the car mode, some of the mechanical components actually hinder the guns to be fully rotatable. Considering this is a Mechtech figure, there is a peg right here in which you can plug in his included accessory, which is a Mechtech weapon, which is a claw gun. And unfortunately, just like a Deluxe class figure Mechtech, it doesn't lock in, so if you hold it, it stays like that, but if you let go, it just returns back to normal. As you can see right there, let me just focus the camera right over there. It is spring-loaded, so if you want to modify this gun yourself, do as you please, but I'm not gonna do because, you know, I don't want to ruin the figure. So before we get to the transformation, let's actually compare this guy with some figures to see how small he really is in vehicle mode. So here he is next to his wrecker partner, Roadbuster. Another deluxe class figure, but this time this is the Decepticon crankcase, which I might review soon. I'm not really sure about it. And we also have SD Gundam Barbados. And of course, a high-grade Universal Century model kit that is the 1/144 scale camphor. And yes, review coming soon, don't worry about it. So, let's get started. So before you go ahead and start ripping off some pieces to transform this guy, you rotate his guns all the way to his back. Just like so. You don't have to align it, you know, I'm just lining it so it doesn't look crappy on camera, and I might have OCD, so yeah. There we go. All the guns are pointing to the back. So what I usually do with Topspin when I transform him, I actually just pull this part right here. As you can see, the front grille of the car just folds in like so, and leave it there for now. Don't do anything with it. To give clearance to for the legs, just pull these arms. You know, it's just what I do for Topspin. And then you can split the sides, which are gonna be the robot's legs. There you go, and just swing it around just like so. So now you got the lower half of Topspin's body. So this is not the front. In order to get the front right to the front, actually hold on. Before you actually rotate the hips, pull these car cable down just like so, just to give clearance for the full hip rotation, just like so. And now you are able to rotate his front just like so. So for transforming his legs, just pull this side a bit while you're pulling this down and then tab it in. Those are his feet, and that goes for the other leg as well. So for the upper half, what you want to do is fold this part back and then pull it in. Oh, that is kind of scary. These parts right here, they are on hinge joints, so you want to just do it like so. Compress it until it is clean looking. So what you want to do for the arms right now is just pull them to the side just like so, and then rotate this. Now to complete the look for Topspin, just pull this part back. Hold on. Now pull his head, set these shoulders aside, and then pull his head forward. And here we have Topspin fully transformed into his robot mode, and my god, this is actually scarily screen accurate from what I remembered back then. For all I know, this is probably one of the best looks that we ever get for Topspin from the movie. I mean, going up and going down, there is a lot of mechanical components that this guy actually has that you would not expect that much from a deluxe class figure. Comparing it side to side with Roadbuster actually kinda makes me have second thoughts about Roadbuster. I mean, don't get me wrong, Roadbuster here is actually pretty much screen accurate, but the mechanical components doesn't seem to appeal as much as Topspin. Now, full objectivity here and no bias aside, I love both of these figures, but I just wish back then Hasbro did the same amount of love to Roadbuster as much as they did for Topspin. But yet again, these are deluxe class figures, so no use in complaining. You can always get the Studio Series, which I am not planning on getting because that Topspin looks like shit. And before we get to the articulation and accessories of this figure, I would like to pin out how much justice he deserves after seeing the Transformers Dark of the Moon movie. I mean, the records are all around impressive and very appealing when they started appearing in the movie, but 50% of their screen time, they were all in their vehicle modes, and they didn't even give a single microscopic dust of fuck for Topspin's dialogue. I mean, they're loud-mouthed engineers. They're supposed to be assholes, they said by Charlotte in the movie, or I forgot her name because I don't really give a shit that much about the human characters.
They're assholes.
But come on, you're talking about a NASCAR-inspired robot here. No stereotype here, but you know, most NASCAR fans like to cheer, they're loud, and you're not gonna give this guy any dialogue, so that's just This guy deserves more than what Michael Bay actually gave him. Hopefully sooner or later, when they release a reboot of the movie of Transformers, which is not gonna be possible, I doubt. Hopefully Topspin will have much more dialogue. And come on, the only reason that Topspin became a talkative character was during the last night.
You always say 5 minutes. That means no.
He was called Volleybot. And he has a head that was actually Leadfoot, and according to theory, because Topspin doesn't have any sort of dialogue or voice whatsoever, they decided to give him the Leadfoot head to actually make him talk, you know,
No.
hiding away from the people who hunt Transformers. So since we're at the head of Topspin, you can see right here that he has some light piping. If I just angle it right there, so you can see, and if I cover that part of a specific part of his head, which is on the back right here, which is a transparent clear plastic, which is actually pretty cool. It simulates that his eyes are glowing. No need for LED or batteries, it's just pure physics. I don't even know what physics is at this point. As for this guy's articulation, we're gonna be starting from the top and then make it drop.
This needs to stop. Now.
That was a shitty reference right there. His head can actually spin around 360 degrees, and this is on a ball joint, so you can look up that far and look down that far. And considering there's another hinge joint here, you can actually, well, he can't, but he can look down that far. But the hinge joint is actually not that as loose as I expected to be, so not a deal breaker. And since his head was on a hinge joint due to transformation compromises, it can shift back that far, and it kind of breaks the illusion of Topspin being a solid transform. And then these parts are in a hinge joint here, hinge joint there, and there's a part in here that has a ball joint, so it can actually pivot around and swivel. And the gun's articulation, same articulation as you get from the vehicle form. His shoulders have a butterfly joint right here, which is present due to transformation compromises. His shoulders can move up that far and cannot fully rotate due to this kibble on his back. Can actually hold on, this part of the shoulder right here, it can actually rotate, giving him that Jesus Christ pose. I don't even know why I call it Jesus Christ pose. And that arm is just full of gaps. I mean, come on, Hasbro. And then his elbows can bend, and his wrists don't have any articulation as much as you would expect from a Deluxe class figure, but his claws can indeed open. Now that's very accurate to the movie and his concept art. He has no ab crunch, unfortunately, and his lower section, his hips, can actually rotate, but unfortunately due to the kibble on his back, or if you move it a little bit, it can only get this kind of swivel right here. It cannot rotate actually because it's being hindered by the kibble, but again, not a deal breaker. It's a Deluxe class figure, what you expect. As for the legs right here, the hips or the thighs are on a ball joint, so he can swivel a little bit. He can kick up that far. That is actually pretty impressive. And his legs can swing backward that much, and that is a lot for a Deluxe class figure. He cannot do the full split, but hey, it's decent enough for posing. Then his knees can actually bend that far, which is pretty much impressive. And the final aspect of this figure that actually brought me to love it, he has a pivot. It's on a ball joint, so he can point, he can bend it like that, and he can actually pivot. A very rare sight among Deluxe class figures. So the posability on this guy is perfectly good. I mean, it's not that much, it's not that much, it's not less than what you expect, but this is a Deluxe class figure. You would not expect that much posability as this guy. I mean, comparing it to my past Transformers video review, yeah, I can safely say Topspin knocks Roadbuster out of the water. Roadbuster is still pretty cool though. I still love him as a character. Even though this guy is undeniably full of robot kibble, he's still actually a pretty much solid figure. Nothing is loose, nothing will fall apart, and even though this hips seem pretty loose due to some engineering compromises, it actually doesn't get as loose as you would expect it to be during its robot mode, and that is actually a pretty cool that is actually a really cool thing that Hasbro did on their part. Topspin is a very lovable character, but he didn't get the attention that he deserves from most fans, and that is just fucking annoying. Talking about the Dead franchise aside, here are some size comparisons. You got Roadbuster, in which he is practically a little bit taller. Another Deluxe class figure, which is the Decepticon Crankcase, review coming soon. SD Gundam Barbados, in which he's undeniably much taller. And lastly, the high-grade Universal Century Camphor. So before we actually wrap up the video, let me just show you where to plug this in his robot mode. So as you can see, he has pegs right here, And there you go, he can actually wield his gun. So for the overall verdict of this figure, I'm gonna give him a 8.5 out of 10. Again, he's not that perfect, he's not that good in terms of movie accuracy and figure accuracy, but he's still an undeniably cool deluxe class figure. Now unfortunately, the movie did not do him some justice. He was just basically standing around not saying anything, but the figures themselves are actually pretty cool, except the Studio Series. That would not, you wouldn't do anything to change my mind that Topspin Studio Series looks like shit. So for those of you who enjoyed this video review, I would highly recommend this deluxe class Topspin figure, whether the ordinary or the armored variant one, to Dark of the Moon or Michael Bay Transformers fans. He's a very cool guy to add to your collection and will complete your family of wreckers, but unfortunately, I don't have Leadfoot, so it's just Roadbuster and Topspin for my collection. Even though if you are a fan of Transformers or the wreckers as a whole, that is the Bayverse version, go ahead and pick these two up. I don't know where you can buy them, but I at least think there might be some online secondhand shops that you can get some old Dark of the Moon figures. Again, they're very old and timey figures. This has been around a few years or back. But yet again, if you don't have the time for the old figures, go ahead and pick the Studio Series if you're brain dead enough to get the Topspin one. So my name is Rando Libangan. Hit the like button, share this video to your friends, and subscribe to my channel. If you don't subscribe to my channel, your kneecaps will burst in reverse, if you know what I'm saying. So follow my social media. That is at Rando Libangan on my Instagram and Rando Libangan as my Facebook page. A quick shout out to PGY and to those guys in there. You guys are awesome. Keep the content running and let's keep supporting Filipino content creator YouTubers. As for these figures, I am highly in love with these looks of the Transformers figures, but it doesn't mean that I love the franchise as a whole. So, see you around. Paalam! Review coming soon. See you around. Paalam.